I have a lot of agriculture in my area and certainly recognize the need for laborers to help in agricultural industries and certainly in the hotel and restaurant industries. But clearly the majority of my constituents believe first seal the border. We'll seal the border, and we appropriated the money to do that. But first seal the border, we'll deal with the illegals here later. Believe me, folks, the federal government cannot multitask. They can't seal the border and deal with the illegals. And when the renewal, it started out as a renewal of what's called the S-CHIP, which is Children's, S is State Children's Health Care Program, S-CHIP, insurance program. It started out as, it does need to be renewed. It's running out this year. But it didn't need to be expanded. And it did not need to be expanded to the point of covering people whose incomes were up to anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. We would be subsidizing their health care. Now, where were the Democrats going to get this money from? They were going to get the money from people on Medicare, from the Medicare Trust Fund. They took almost $200 billion from seniors. Now, obviously, I represent a huge number of seniors. We had what's called a motion to instruct to send the bill back to committee to eliminate funding going to illegals. It was very interesting because the vote actually was gavelled, and we won. But you don't win with Nancy Pelosi there, ladies. Let me tell you. After the gavel was laid down, technically the end of the vote, we won because they know in their heart of hearts, and a lot of their endangered know that giving benefits to illegal aliens is not going to get them reelected. But more importantly, it's the wrong thing to do. I mean, we grew up and our parents told us we're not going to reward bad behavior. That's the ultimate rewarding bad behavior, giving them more benefits using tax dollars. And so we won, but you don't win. Nothing's final with Nancy till she gets her way. So after it was gavelled down, they allowed people to change their votes. Yes, it was, if you Google it, it is, just put in House meltdown, where the House went wild. I mean, it looked more like the House of Commons. But again, it was absolutely the worst demonstration of democracy that anyone would ever want to see. If the people in Iraq saw that, they would say, this is what we should aspire to, where you vote, but it really doesn't count unless you get the results that you want. And they say, we steal elections. Come on. They absolutely were doing something illegal and wrong. They got enough people to change their vote. Then another gavel came down. You need to see it. It just... people were yelling on our side of the aisle. Republicans are pretty staid and boring, aren't they? It was like, cheaters, cheaters. But it's true. What they did was violate every tenet of a free and independent vote. And my fear is that may be just one of... That may be step number one. I fear going back in September because they truly are getting desperate. Their members who won in what should be Republican districts are being forced to vote on very, very bad legislation going against what their constituents want, including the gentleman that Gail Harrell is running against. For him to vote the way he did, both on the bill and against the motion to recommit, the motion to instruct, rather, says he cares more about giving seniors benefits to illegal aliens than he does about the people who live in his district. And Gail, you need never let him forget that. Okay. But the sense of frustration and anger was so great that then the majority leader, Democrat majority leader Steny Hoyer, called for a revote. He knew what they did was wrong. We wouldn't let them revote it. We walked out rather than have them revote it, because by then they had twisted enough arms. It would have probably won by a substantial majority with some of those wavering Democrats. Anyway, it was terrible. Google House meltdown and you'll go to YouTube, or put it on YouTube, because that's where it is. It truly is indicative of the absolute hammer that Nancy Pelosi has on her members and on the House. Oh yeah, they pretended it didn't happen. The problem with C-SPAN is they didn't capture they had some members with the deer caught in the headlights look, and our members were aghast at what had just happened. They don't do a broad span of the audience. It's just the majority leader and minority leader and the desk up front, or whoever's speaking. But let me tell you something. I am sure that our forefathers are turning over in their graves.